Salam, my students. Good morning. This is me, Dr.هاني الحسني, and that's the course of Grammar 3 for senior and sophomore students at Isra University, Gaza, Palestine. After a few chapters, we reach to discuss chapter 15, part 2. In the previous chapter, chapter 14, we talk about gerunds and infinitives, part 1. And now we have another part and another chapter. This chapter will deal with some issues that related to the usage of infinitive or gerunds in another style. It means how here in section 1 the infinitive of purpose, if I say in order to, for sure in order to is kind of linking word or coordinating word that I use it to conjunct between two sentences, one clause and one phrase. That's how we use in order to. So the purpose is the same function of to, but if we write in order is often omitted in some cases. Sometimes no need to repeat or write down order. It's enough to write study or to only. If I said incorrect here, he came here for studying English, he came here for to study English, and he came here for study English. All of them, it's totally wrong. Why? Because in order to, it followed by verb, but for, it followed by ing, the gerunds. How? Sometimes it follow for gerunds and it followed by kind of words like demonstrative or some or any, and for using that word for, I went to the store for some bread, I went to store to buy some bread. Both of them already accepted in part of showing the purpose, but you need to remember that sometimes we would say I went to the store for buying bread, so you put ing. That's the first thing that you need to know about this section. Therefore, if you look down about the note or the exception, the phrase used or be used for, it's kind of a phrase, be used for. A saw is used for cutting wood, so we use gerund. A saw is used to cut wood, also possible. So used for, it's kind of a phrase, and this phrase, it involves either answer or it's acceptable to find either answers. That's how we dealt with the case of section 1. So if we move to section 2, in section 2, adjectives followed by infinitives. So the adjective followed by infinitive. What do we mean by it? Like we realize it could be a word which defined as a structure to be adjective, and therefore we followed it with infinitive. The first example in A here, we were sorry to hear the bad news. So we were sorry to hear the bad news. So the issue here, if you look at we were sorry, it looked like it's together like kind of adjective which describe something. It comes from people to describe feeling. I was surprised, so surprised to see Ted at the meeting. That's how to write the sequence of words. The sequence you can see here it looked like we can understand that adjectives, and you can understand also how it followed in the composition. It looked like a composition of words, like I glad to, I'm happy to, I'm pleased to, I content to, I relieved to, I'm lucky to, I'm fortunate to, I'm excited to. So you can find a lot of words like here, I'm reluctant to, I'm willing to, I'm determined to, I'm proud to. All of these words, you can memorize it as a composition. It's kind of a phrase. You need to remember the word that, like adjective plus infinitive. And that's how we can assure that the sentence is totally correct, even it followed, or the adjective followed by to. We have here a note, expressions with asterisk or asterisk are usually followed by infinitive phrase, such as see, learn, discover, find out, and hear. So sometimes we can add also others like see and learn and find out and hear for the senses to be followed with infinitive. That's how we can recognize section 2. From what we find the adjective word like I am glad to, I am happy to, I'm pleased to, and all of them in case of make the sentence quite better and stronger enough for it. Like here there is example, he is reluctant to leave his country. Reluctant يعني متردد. Reluctant. Next section we have a section that called using infinitives with to and enough. So if you look here, we have infinitive with to and enough. How? Like that box is too heavy for Bob to lift. So we have here to lift, and we have here another sentence that looked like there is no way for using infinitive for it. Like the first one, A, it is possible for Bob to lift that box because I put to. That box is too heavy for Bob to lift. So to, it gives some implied meaning about the possibility or impossibility. So A, it is impossible for Bob to lift that box. The box is too heavy for Bob to lift. It means it is too heavy and there is no way to find out any strategy to carry the box. So it mentioned to here for negative results or negative meaning. Now B, that box is very heavy, but Bob can lift it. So can here, it gives some possibility to Bob to carry that box. C, I'm strong enough to lift that box, I can lift it. I'm strong enough. I'm strong enough to lift that box, I can lift it. I'm strong enough here can also be followed by an infinitive. Note the following. Enough follows the adjective as in C. So I'm strong, strong, and strength and strength. Here the words also the adjectives, but using enough in either way for being precedent or antecedent. So if you look at I'm strong enough, so you can see the sequence. The first is adjective, then enough after the adjective. To lift. I'm strong enough to lift the box. I have enough strength to lift the box. So number D, it looked like enough preceded nouns. Enough preceded nouns. And here the part when something preceded nouns, you should realize how enough should follow adjective. and how enough should precede the nouns. And that's kind of a question for the quiz. I can ask you enough follows the adjective. I can also ask you enough follows a noun. So is it true? You have to remember it's not true for nouns to make enough follow the noun. How we need to remember, I have enough strength. So enough is a preceding or it comes before noun. In formal English, it may follow a noun, as in I have strength enough to lift. So that's formal English, not in communication or daily basis communication. So bear in your mind, see that enough follows the adjective. Enough follows the adjective. Next, we have the section 4, passive infinitives and gerunds. Present. I didn't expect to be asked to his party. I appreciated being asked to his party. So you can see two examples, A and B. I didn't expect to be asked. So to be asked is about using past participle after be, and here it's called passive infinitive, to be asked, to be done. So you know, like this kind of examples, when you say to be, that's how we followed it with past participle, and that's called passive infinitive. In grammatical rules, it's called passive infinitives. That's to understand if we need to continue the sentence. We can say, I didn't expect to be asked to his party by him, but we don't need to add by him at the end, same like the passive, because it will be kind of repetition. I appreciated being asked to his party, so I appreciated being. Also, we can use being. That's called passive gerund, and we don't need to change our mind about this phrase because it will be the same function as passive. I appreciated being asked to his party. No need to add at the end by him. So the sentence here, complete the sentences with passive form of invite. So the question will be asked you like this: complete or which sentence in the passive form of invite in case of infinitive. So you have to remember, if I ask you the question, it will be a question involve the word infinitive and passive, and you need to find out the structure. Like here, Mara also hopes to be invited. Maria has no doubt she expects being invited. So that's how we dealt with the sentences. In section 5, we have past forms of infinitives and gerunds. And that's the last part in that section or in that chapter we will talk about. Why? Because we don't need to spend a lot of time just in case of explanation. We need to remember that the symbol structure to tell, that's a past active, to have told, that's a passive of past, so to have been told. So past infinitives and gerunds use form of have plus past participle. That's how we could understand the point of past passive, that already being in the idea of infinitives and gerunds. Tim appeared to have told his wife about his job promotion. يعني ايش promotion؟ يعني هو تم ترقيته. Tim appeared to have told his wife about his job promotion. So Tim appeared to have told. Usually we are not really aware of that structure, or we don't really use this structure because it's almost strange or odd for many students. They couldn't remember to follow the appeared with to. Tim appeared to have told his wife about his job promotion. So if you trace, you will find to have and past participle and تصريف الثالث. The meaning in A, it appeared Tim had told his wife about his job. So Tim appeared to have told his wife. It means he already told his wife about the job promotion. So when you read this sentence, the meaning of this sentence it's not about to have, he will for the future, but he already did. Tim's wife was happy to have been told immediately about his job promotion. So to have been told that he immediately informed her about the job promotion. Maybe in the first sentence he informed her maybe before the time, but in the second sentence we can understand the meaning. It happened at the moment, directly. So here, to have told his wife about his job promotion, he told his wife something before the action happened. But here, when he received a call or a message about job promotion, he told his wife. So Tim's wife was happy to have been told immediately. To have been told immediately, because she was the first one her husband informed her. He mentioned having told his wife. Having told his wife immediately. So having told his wife, the meaning here, he mentioned that he had told his wife immediately about his job. So it's the same about same like be, but with using ing, it gives the vitality, or it gives kind of action, maybe with happily emotions or kind of nice reaction with using having. He mentioned having told his wife. He mentioned having told his wife immediately. And D, she appreciated having been told immediately. That's the meaning that also she received it on time to be informed, having been told. Last, E, Tim mentioned telling his wife, and Tim mentioned having told his wife. What's the difference between E and F? She was happy to be told, she was happy to have been told. Use of the past infinitive or gerund emphasizes that something occurred in the past prior to another event. In particular, however, there is little difference in meaning between the simple and past forms. Like what? We need to understand how is something happen, and prior to another event, we need to continue. We need to continue as in the form E and F. If you look at the difference in the meaning, she was happy to be told, she was happy to have been told. So to be told, it means she has prior information or prior knowledge before it happened, and she was happy to have been told. She has received the information on time. So that's the difference between the two structure. We have repeated it many times. I hope that you back to continue studying other issues. We don't need to talk about sections from like section 6. As I said, we just have 5 sections, so 6 and 8 or 7, all of them we need to skip them because we don't have much time. We need to continue next week to talk about the adjective or adverb clause. So next or the next in the next week, which almost we are closer to end or to finish that course, we will talk about adverb clauses. So after we describe and talk enough about noun clauses and adjective clauses, we have to look deeply in the following or the next week about adverb clauses, and that's very important for you. You will try to differentiate and distinguish between adverb clauses, adjective clauses, and noun clauses. Thank you very much for paying attention to chapter 15, which is part 2 of gerunds and infinitives. I wish to talk to you more and more, but that's the end of the session today. See you later.